3, 2, 1.
You ain't seen nothing yet. Hey everybody, welcome back for another week of our podcast. This is the Let's Dig In podcast with Rich Rosendale and our co-hosts Rachel Barnett and Christopher Ryloff. This week we had a very special guest all the way from the Ukraine, Dinara Kasko. She is a world-class pastry chef. She started off in architecture and then later followed her passion of doing desserts, and she really made her mark by kind of using her background in architecture. She now designs many of her desserts and her dessert molds using a 3D printer, which is really cool, cutting edge. And she has her very unique style. When you look at her desserts, you know that they kind of have her signature. It's really fascinating, the whole process that she uses to come up with these stunning creations. We talked to her about how COVID and 2020 has impacted her business, how she's had to shift gears, and also really just to kind of understand her story, how Instagram played a big role in her explosive success. But anyway, without further ado, let's dig in. Amazing conversation with Dinara Kasko. Enjoy. Hey guys, when it comes to cooking equipment, and you know I work with some of the best brands in the industry. When it comes to vacuum sealers, I use the Henkelman Combi Vac. This machine is much more than just a vacuum sealer. It gives you the ability to tenderize meat. You can do marination. It has a liquid setting. So what that means, if you put a liquid inside of a bag, you don't have to worry about the vacuum pulling all that liquid out and having a huge mess to clean up. This thing has a humidity sensor, super sophisticated, and it knows when that liquid is getting ready to come out, and it will initiate the seal. It also gives the ability to do infusions. We've made really cool cocktails. This machine does so much. And in this day and age, it is so important that you really think about the equipment that you're buying, because there's an opportunity to have a return on the investment, whether that is in return on quality and taste or being more efficient. So when it comes to vacuum sealers, check out the Combi Vac by Henkelman. Dinara Kasko, we are thrilled to be able to have you, and we wanted to kind of talk about your background, what inspires you. Before we kind of get started, I did want to kind of tell you that when we first started talking about guests, for me, when I competed in Boku's store, I was always really inspired by like architecture, even like very early on in my career. I grew up in southwestern Pennsylvania, and Frank Lloyd Wright, who designs houses, he always designed really cool houses at that time. And I would use a lot of his structures as kind of inspiration for a lot of my food. So I really kind of related, and I also love pastries. I mean, I started off in pastries. So I was thrilled to be able to kind of have you on the show. So can you tell us about yourself, how you got started, and where you're at today?
So, for me, even now, when I start to think about what I'm doing now, it's a bit strange because I've never thought about it, about pastry, about cooking at all. So I'm a professional architect, and I worked during 8 years. I made different pictures, drawings, interiors, exteriors. So I like my job. I liked my job. But at the same time, I started baking at home, and I started because I like eating sweets really a lot. Cakes, all this bonbons, everything. It's all for me. So I started baking at home every evening, almost every evening after work. I tried to do something. Then I started to bake at the weekends. Then I went to some special classes, courses. I started to learn like baking professionally from different pastry chefs. And little by little, I understood that baking cakes, they became more interesting than architecture and then design, because, always when I worked as a designer, I worked at home. I had my computer, and everything was just like through Skype, or just I had only my screen, and that's all. And I couldn't touch, I couldn't see the final result like it's with cake when you do something and you have this. So now when I work now, I have final result right now. And for me, it was very important to understand that if I make some picture, I can I can have the same at the real life. So when I started baking, for me, it was very interesting. It was something extremely new, and at the same time, mousse cakes, they became popular more and more, especially in Ukraine. When I attended my first classes like a student, I remember it was very difficult to find a space, place, school. Everything was fully booked always 6 months before. It was impossible to get your place to see the chef. But now, of course, we have a lot of different chefs and classes and everything. So, I was just impressed, and for me, it was like a miracle, with mirror glaze and cakes, and I baked. And at the same time, I became pregnant. So when my daughter was born, I started to, I also discovered Instagram. I made my Instagram page, and I started just to post my pictures, and people were very interested. I got a lot of followers, and then I just, I don't know how to say it in English, but for example, in Ukraine, when you get a baby, you have 3 years free. You can sit with your baby. So after some time, I understood that I don't want to work again like a designer, because I got much more with pastry in pastry world. So I started to give my classes. And then I opened a special space, my studio, because I worked at home. I'm like housewife. I work like housewife. So I just made some pictures and videos at home, and I baked at home. But then it was uncomfortable for me, and I wanted to grow up, make a bigger business, and I wanted to work professionally. So I opened a special space, big studio. I bought all good equipment for me, and now I have a studio, I have staff, I have 3D printers and cakes and restaurants around the world. So just little by little. But if you asked me 10 years ago, about pastry, 10 years ago, I knew nothing.
When you first started doing like baking, when a lot of people that maybe were in a different profession that said, oh yeah, I started taking up baking, they picture something like very specific, like making some brownies or a cake. But I have a feeling that you because of your mind and the creativity, that you accelerated your creativity a lot faster. And it seems like, looking at your website, like the designs and everything are just, I mean, they're astonishing, and they're a work of art. Just even looking at the cake before you even actually get to see the finished product. But like, what were like when you first got started? I mean, did you approach it from a different perspective, or did you literally just like open up some cookbooks and start like trying different recipes?
So about pictures, I can say that I used to be professional photographer. I think I saw maybe more than 50 weddings. So that's why when we made the pictures of my cakes, we paid a lot of attention with my husband, because he helps me. So, and videos are the same. So we are trying to make good quality pictures, some nice also product. And your question was?
Well, I mean, did you start, you actually kind of answered it. I mean, the thing I was kind of curious about, I was actually talking to Christopher and Rachel before the call, and I feel like as a chef, I'm really glad that I got pastry experience in the beginning of my career. And I feel like there's two things. I mean, you having, being a photographer or having photographer experience, and being a pastry chef, I feel like you have more of an eye for detail that a lot of people don't see, like certain things. Like the average person may not look at something with the same attention to detail as you do. Because I feel like pastry chefs and photographers, like, you see things differently. And I think it kind of probably helps with the finished product. It looks, I mean, everything you have, it looks so polished and perfect. I mean, it's really amazing.
It's, because you see just 1% from
Right.
all that I do. It's just, the final result. Of course, we have a lot of attempts, and I can't show everything because very often we have something like terrible, not very beautiful. But for me, of course, it was important. As I told you before, I used to be a photographer. Also, I don't know how to. I went to painting school, like 4 years, and also in my university. So we have a lot of different types of art. So for me, it was important to make a beautiful product for Instagram, for social networks, for Facebook, because people, they can't taste my cakes, they can't try, so they can't touch, but they can see. So for me, it was important to make a beautiful picture for people because it's like my advertising, and it's like my painting, like my art. So it's not just a cake. When I make some cake, I always try to make beautiful picture of the cake. Unfortunately, now I don't have a lot of time for it, maybe. And, I started, it was like hobby, only pictures. Now I have a business, very small, but it's still business. So I just don't have enough time to do to do some, I don't know, some interesting experimental works, but I want to do it. Yeah, now I pay attention on mass production. So, little by little, I started to make cakes at home. Then I started to make first test 3D printing molds. Then I started to sell handmade molds. And finally, I found the mass production, and we sell now molds from mass production around the world. So now I working with my team, and we are, for example, next month we will have new molds. It's like more than 10,000 pieces, and we sell them now. So yeah, so now it's like my task number one. But at the same time, of course, we make some experimental cakes, and I try to do like whole product with picture, video, recipe. Recipe is very important for me. So when I do something, I make a recipe 1, 2, I don't know, 5, 10 times until I have a good result, until it satisfied me. And also I can make 3D model, I can print, I can, I don't know, finish my plastic mold, I can make silicone mold. So I like to make like, it's like big collaboration inside me, so I can do all stages. And it's very important and interesting for me, because I can't do the same like tasks every day. I need to change something, because otherwise it will be boring process for me. But of course, I personally know a lot of people who work like, I don't know, maybe 95% of chefs, they don't have Instagram account, or they have private Instagram account.
Right.
And nobody knows about them, but they still do good job. And I think we are like one big mechanism, like one big, I don't know, body, and we have different tasks, yes, different programs. So I can do mold, and people can buy this mold, and they can do cake and sell in their pastry shops, and
That's great.
it's just like, yeah. So after all, I understood that I can't say that I am very, very professional pastry chef. So for example, I don't have professional graduation, so I'm professional architect, but I attended different pastry classes 2-3 days, but it's still, I don't have like big diploma for years or something like this. But I'm an architect, so I decided to make like design objects and these silicone molds, and I feel that I can give to the world these molds, and it's like now I think it's from me it's the biggest that I can give.
So your process for making a dessert, do you design something like on using like the 3D printer or whatever and make the mold? And like, is that where a lot of the work goes into, is like coming up with the design? And like, I mean, do you think about, I'm going to put this kind of a layer of filling here, and then I'm going to put this kind of a mirror glaze on the outside? Is a lot of the work done like designing on a computer or like a 3D printer, and then you go into the kitchen?
When I made my first molds, I thought about recipes, especially for some special molds. Now I do everything like in one time. Like I can do different recipes, I can do different molds, and then I can just change. For example, if we talk about my molds, I have many pictures with like colorful glaze, with red, yellow, orange. But for example, to make this bright color, I can cover it with neutral glaze, yes, with colored neutral glaze. But we can glaze only white mousse cakes, like with white chocolate or some fruits. So I don't have a lot of chocolate like milk or dark chocolate mousses and recipes because of this colorful glaze. And it's just like, I don't know how to tell it in English, but it's just like I can do only this. So but when people buy my molds, they can put inside all that they want. So usually of course, I see from time to time some of my recipes inside their molds, but usually they have their clients, they sell some special recipes, and they just use my molds only for appearance. So it's from one side, it's good that I give them recipe, but they can play even. You can freeze soup or I don't know, some puree inside.
I was just going to ask, as far as we had talked earlier, Chef, and you were saying, you know, these molds would be great to use as something for Bocuse d'Or. But do you ever use any sort of savory ingredients in your pastries and your recipes?
Me, not. But I saw some of my customers, they put inside like puree or some they made some sour dish. And I remember we have in Ukraine, we have very traditional dish. The name is холодец. It's like when you make, it's not a soup, it's like bouillon, I don't know, like with a lot of gelatin from bones. So you cook bones with some carrot and meat, and it's very jelly. So one of a friend of mine, she made in my heart mold this jelly with meat and carrots and some greens inside, and it looked very nice. So they cut and eat it. Yeah. So of course it's up to people. But when we started to sell my molds, we wrote that it's good you can use it for freezing and baking. But now I advise to use it for freezing, because for baking it's easier to use some other special types. For example, you can freeze cake in a saucepan, but there is no reason like
I actually was just thinking, even like for my kids, like for their birthday party, I was like, oh man, it could be awesome to make like the ultimate ice cream cake for them. They would love it, using one of your molds, the coolest ice cream cake ever. Dinara, what about with the pandemic this year? Has that impacted your classes and your business? Like what have you had to do because of that?
Oh, of course. I canceled all my trips. I wanted this year. I wanted to go to Tokyo, Italy, Spain, like many countries. We planned a lot of different events. But now, because of this coronavirus, I sit at home and I pay all the attention into the molds. because this is my job now. So I can sell molds. I have classes here, but only for local people. Before I had a lot of foreigners in my school, in my studio, and I traveled a lot. Like every month I went to some new country. Now I'm here, and also my son was born last year, and I have 2 kids now, no nanny, and it's very funny.
Wow.
I don't have time to
Wow.
work with
Wow.
my-
Would you ever consider in the future holding classes online for people?
Yes, we prepared finally. We shoot it last week, 6 days from 7 till 9 every day. We prepared 7 online classes, 7 different cakes, and 1 extra free recipe. And maybe you heard about Kisa Academy. It's a Ukrainian academy, and now they make online classes. They proposed me to make online class with them.
Oh, that's great.
So we made the first 7 classes, and next year we are going to shoot more. But we need to start with this. I don't know how will it be. So we will start, but I have a lot of requests about online, and now it's popular and different marathons, and I think because of this virus, it's our future, something online.
Yeah, that's definitely something I would be interested. I would love to see one of your classes online.
Yes, but I still I really like to travel. I like to meet people. I like when people come to my school. We here cook some special Ukrainian lunch. So it's like we are very friendly, and of course I'm very sad because for me it was very important to travel and to speak with people. I can of course do online something, but I can't. It's like I don't know how to compare. It's different.
You lose that personal connection with people when you're not face to face.
Yes.
Dinara, I'm curious. Christopher had taken a class in Spain, right?
Right. It was in Spain. Yeah, Barcelona.
What were some of the questions, Chris, that you were we were talking about with the ingredients? I'm curious.
So I was going to ask you. I have this, and I just brought it back because I think that this cake, it was one of the collaborations that you did with Chef Jordi Bordas from Barcelona, and he's all about like being healthier in every single ingredient that he used. How are you like talking about like how much sugar or like how healthy are the recipes that you use and everything about like that?
I can tell that I'm a big fan of Jordi Bordas. He's crazy, really.
Yeah.
I like I like his cake recipes, and he's very good person. I don't know. So of course I'm trying to make healthier cakes as much as I can, but I still use sugar. I still use flour, and I can't, I think about this from time to time. I think like maybe I sell some like a poison, but I the cake, but sugar it's also not very healthy and not very good.
Right.
So I try to tell that if you eat cake, try to eat the best cake. Good looking, with good ingredients, healthy ingredients, natural ingredients aside. Of course, now I work with, for example, cakes when I have less cream but more meringue, less sugar but more fruits, and it's always happened after I met Jordi Bordas, and I started to update my recipes to change something. Yeah, but still, when you buy cake, you need to eat something, I don't know, creamy, sweet, and to satisfy, because otherwise you just can buy apple, and you don't need to pay more. So it's cheaper to buy just fruits. Last year I started to eat, after my son was born, I started to eat a lot of sweets, and I feel like every day I need to eat croissant, I don't know, bread, something. And now I try to quiet. We have here a lot of fruits. Now it's a fruit season. But of course it's not very good, and I work only with good ingredients, only natural ingredients, and as healthy as possible. Right. Always. And for example, my cakes are colorful. I use colorant, yes, but if we compare with other cakes, for example, when I use chocolate spraying, this velour layer, it's very thin, and it's very small amount of colorant you can see and you can eat. And my colorant's always very good quality, and it's not it's not a big problem. But some customers, they can ask without colorants, and we can play just with puree or without colorants. Right. So it's also, for some people, it's also a problem.
Yeah. I mean, you always get different kind of customers. Did you get any inspiration from Barcelona? I mean, there is so many architecture. Like, I mean, it's a beautiful city, and it's full of like different museums and different buildings from Gaudi. And I think did you get any inspiration from any of those, like all of those places, walking around or even talking to Jordi?
Of course, we prepared for Jordi 5 different cakes when I went to his school, and we made 5 different molds for them. And I like Spain. I thought maybe I will move to Barcelona one day. Nice. or to Spain. In general, I also like Valencia and my old and I know very well that, for example, when I go somewhere, I took some special inspiration. I can tell that when I travel, I feel good. I don't know. I feel better, and just I have time to think about some new ideas, and it's easier to create new ideas when you feel happy. Yes. So always when I travel, I feel happy, and I can do something new. But at the same time, still my 2 kids, and it's difficult.
Yeah, it has to be hard. Yeah.
Dinara, do you sometimes look at like maybe a building or a structure or a shape in nature, like whenever you would travel to those places, or is it even more like what you see there in the Ukraine? I mean, is that kind of where your ideas start, like with the shape, or are you more like you just go to the computer and start putting things together?
It depends. It depends on what I need to do, because I have some like orders from customers. They want to have something special. Sometimes I can do something for my soul, for like when I have some idea. Sometimes I need to make cake, some special mold that, like, for example, right now I understand that this mold, it's very interesting, but people will not buy it because it's very strange. Right. And sometimes I need to make some special molds because I understand that people can easily sell cakes with this appearance, this design. So it needs to be, as I understand now, it's better to sell, for example, round mold, like a funny texture, when you can put on the top some, I don't know, teddy bear, or like something colorful balls or something else. But inspiration can be, everywhere. And the problem for me, the biggest problem, that I have a lot of ideas, but I don't have time to make them. But inspiration can be country, color, some structure, some geometric shape, mathematic, like everything can be an inspiration. Even some texture, some clothes, people, I don't know, some event, everything.
You also have really had great success with social media, like with Instagram. Like what tips would you give people out there that are maybe trying to build up their social media? Is it the pictures? Is it like the frequency? Is it, I mean, people have all these different strategies they do for social media. What do you think is the best route?
So the best, now it's difficult to to understand, but because I got all my followers a few years ago when it was much more easier, when you can I could just make a post with black background, and I got 1 million views, like a lot of followers.
Wow.
It was enough, it was enough just to make picture with black background.
Right.
Totally enough. Some minimalism. Now, of course, it's very important to make good picture, but at the same time, now all people, they have good iPhones and they have good pictures. So you need to do something special, something like to attract attention, some exclusive products, maybe give some tips or recipes. It depends on your profile, on what you do, and you need to have this structure to make posts every 2-3 days to answer your followers. But I do nothing. Like I can do post once per month. I just don't have time for it.
Right.
So every day it's like I need to post something, and then okay, then so it's not time tomorrow, and every day is the same. Okay, tomorrow. Now I have an assistant, and she has my second Instagram page about molds. So I see that she posts something, she answers people every day, she writes something, and I'm very happy because it's not for me. I like to speak with people, and I like to do something, but to answer on my Instagram, oh my God, it's difficult to answer every day 20-30 people the same questions. So in one day you just you can't. It's just like you open close, and just people sorry. But for this you need to have some special stuff. But I have my private page, so I have some, I don't know, people, my friend there. But of course, now Instagram, it's not just social network. It's like your TV channel, your private TV channel. And
Sure.
as I understand now, you also need to make TikTok and YouTube channel. And Facebook also will be nice.
Crazy.
Maybe Pinterest, and you need to be everywhere. And at the same time, you need to make good recipes, beautiful pictures, answer all your followers. And it's good to go to gym and make picture from gym, yes. And like go to restaurants every day to have your breakfast and read a lot and write and know all about politics. So you need to choose something from this list.
Yeah, it's changed like so much. And I think that the pandemic the coronavirus has moved things forward so fast. I mean, it's forced us to start using these technologies more, because before we were just used to meeting in person. And, like Rachel would ask you about online classes. I mean, you probably would have done that at some point, but now you make it a priority to do it because that's what's happening out there. Are you still doing are you able to do, I'm not sure like what businesses are like in the Ukraine right now, but are businesses allowed to be open? Like, are you allowed to have in-person classes now?
I think yes, but for example, in Ukraine, at the beginning of the virus, we had very small amount of people with this virus, maybe like 20, 30, 40, 100, and we sat at home during 2 or 3 months with my family. Like I cried almost every evening because for me it was like a big challenge, to sit at home doing nothing. It's like I want to cook something, at least something, please. I need to go to studio, even just go outside. It was big, like I was happy even about this. But then now we have more than 2,000 people every day.
Wow.
And as I know, my city now, maybe it's red zone, maybe it's orange zone, I don't know. And for people, they tired, like they wear masks only in the shop. And as I know, all works now, like all people, everywhere they work, we have big amount, but people work and they do classes and they do everything because they need to make money. We can't just live without work like more than half a year. It's difficult, but at the same time, we canceled all classes this spring. We postponed them to autumn. Now we planned a few classes this autumn, but if situation will be very bad, of course we will postpone again these classes. So yeah, because now we try to do not more than 10 people in my studio to work in one time. But it's in Ukraine, we don't have here, very strict rules, police or something like this. We just don't have such, so many policemen here.
Right. What about for your kids? I mean, with school, are they going to do distance learning where they do it on the computer and not go to school in person in the Ukraine?
My children, they are very small now.
Okay.
So we still at home. We don't go to kindergarten because of the virus. Now we have individual swimming and singing, like individual classes. But as I know, this year people, I don't know 100% because nobody knows really.
Right.
Like situation can change every day. But now the plan is to go to ordinary schools for all people, and then I think we will see what will be. But it's very strange when people, children sit at home and what to do. Mother, father, they need to go to work, and even this June we usually have big events after school stops. All high school classes, they have big events. I don't know the name in English, but when they have like a disco, they have some event like by school event. So it was how to say, it was impossible to make these events, but children, they still were outside, all of them. On just sports everywhere, and they couldn't go to school, but they were here. So I saw
Right.
many children, many high school people here everywhere, and they talk to each other without masks. So it's 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 very strange situation, and we don't know to trust or not. This is the biggest question, is it true or false?
Right. Yeah, that has been difficult for our family. My wife works from home, and I am at home a lot. I'm not traveling as much anymore. But for our kids, we have 3 children, and they're all going to have to stay home this year and do their classes through the computer, which, yeah, it's crazy. So I had to ask you, I was just curious if it was like that in the Ukraine, but what a crazy
maybe
year.
it will be, I don't know, nobody knows. So I think September, October, and we will understand, because now our numbers, it's like I told you, we had 100, we sat at home, now we have 2,000.
Wow.
We don't know.
So what about the airports there in travel? Like, are you able to, if you wanted to go to Spain or go to any of the other countries, I mean, is it pretty easy to kind of move around right now, or have they gotten strict with that?
We have some special website, and you can see countries. For example, as I know, to the USA, you can go just without any tests or some special, I don't know, documents. And there are some countries you can travel easy. Sometimes you need to make tests. Some countries are closed, so it depends on country. For example, now we have a lot of tourists going to Egypt or Turkey. You can go. So we are going in September. We are going to go to some hotel to the Turkey, but I don't know. Now we won't, but maybe they will close.
Have you been to the United States over the years very much?
Last time I was there last May,
Okay.
like last year, because my son was born in Miami.
Oh,
We
okay.
go there.
Oh, wonderful. Okay.
Yeah. So he's American.
Yeah, Christopher is based in Miami, and we're actually getting ready to open a place up about 45 minutes south of Miami. And I was curious about that. Well, you're always welcome anytime you need a place to prep or do any events here in the DC area. Rachel's based in Atlanta, and we would love to host you anytime, or if there's ever anything that you ever need with a kitchen, or we'd love to have you. So hopefully at some point things get back to normal.
I like US. Yes, I like US. My daughter, she's asking almost every day, like, when we go to America, please, mommy,
Oh,
go
really?
to America. I want to go to America.
That's so nice.
And we have a cafe in Boston with my cakes also. So I was in the US, I think 5 times, and I like traveling. And we plan to go this year to US also to travel, but maybe later.
Well, I know we're getting coming in here on the last 10 minutes or so. I'll let Rachel and Chris ask any questions, but I did want to make sure where, Dinara, if people want to find out more about you, where can they go, and where can we find your molds if they want to get them?
Mm-hmm. So I have my website, dinarakasko.com, and I have also Instagram, the same Dinara Kasko. And on my website, there is a link, 2 links, buy on my website or buy on Amazon. We have Amazon US, so you can just buy on Amazon. But that's now we have only 3 types now of molds there. And this November, we are going to have much more and also new molds. So totally we will have 14 different types, and we are working on them now. Then we'll send to Amazon, and it will be easy to buy.
Are you gonna have the fruit molds, these kind of like geometric fruit molds that you have?
Yeah.
So you're gonna have it in US too?
Yes, but a bit later on. Now we are working on fruits. We will do lemon, banana, pineapple, and coffee. It will be, I think, after New Year. So now we are making 3D molds, 3D models, and I will order them on my factory as soon as my 3D artist will give me this job. So
that's great. Which one is your favorite brand for the printer, 3D printer?
Oh, I don't know. I have just one. I have Ultimator. I have 2 different types. I have Ultimator and I have One How. But Ultimator, it's like one of the best. When we bought the printer, the seller, he told that it's like iPhone, but in 3D printer world. So it's easy to print. Yes, you just need to push the button. And it's expensive, but it's easier to print, and it has very good quality. Very good. So I don't need to polish molds after printing.
Oh, that's great.
I have a couple more questions. When it is safe to travel again, when you do classes, do you ever go to like culinary schools in other countries and go teach classes there? Or would that be something that, I'm sorry? Culinary, like pastry schools. Do you go to the schools to teach classes there?
Yeah, so usually when I have some invitation from some country and some school, I ask about equipment, because I need, for example, to have always blast freezer. It's very important. Yes, and then yes, I can travel. I can come and make class. So I usually travel a lot, especially with classes.
Very cool, very cool. And then my last question is, what is your favorite Ukrainian dessert?
Favorite Ukrainian dessert? we have just two classical, traditional, and popular desserts. It's honey cake and Napoleon cake. But my mother, my favorite cake from my childhood is my mother cake. She made like eclairs, a lot of small eclairs, and then she put sour cream with sugar and these small eclairs, and she made like a mound,
Wow.
Like they stock cream, sugar, and it's very tasty. It's super simple to make, very tasty, and with cacao powder or grated chocolate, it's like super easy and super tasty. So it's my favorite dessert.
Interesting. I love that.
And about just talking about dessert again, which one is your favorite dessert to eat? Like fruit or like creamy, any mousse, the flavor like from all the different countries that you have visited?
You know, the biggest problem that I like all. When I go to cafe, it's so difficult for me to choose just one. Like I want to eat all like bite of each. So I don't have my like the best, the most like I like all of them. But of course, for example, I prefer this cake, but like I do not eat a lot of chocolate, like chocolate fondant, for example. It's not my favorite at all. But if you tell that I have chocolate fondant and that's all, I will eat this chocolate fondant.
That's great.
Yeah, my wife, she could eat dessert like for the first, second, and third course. Like she loves dessert. So a lot of Americans love their desserts too. So
yes, me too.
Yeah,
Well-
I love desserts. But you know what I found is that I have met a few pastry chefs who don't enjoy pastries or sweets.
Wow.
Mhm.
Yes. Yes.
But they're very
sometimes-
passionate about what they do.
we made this video last week with Kisa Academy, and director of this school, she's pastry chef too, and she when she tasted my cakes, she ate only sponges. She told like, I don't like mousse cakes and mousse at all, like cream, no, only sponges, dry sponges especially. So she ate only sponges and it was enough for her. But of course I don't eat a lot of sweets, just from time to time, but I don't have my favorites, so everything.
Right.
Well, Dinara, we wanted to just say thank you very much for making time to do this with us. And you're on the other side of the world, and I know you juggling with all the changes in your schedule and kids. And thank you very much. We really appreciate it. And we looks like we got a visitor. Hi.
There you go, the little one.
So cute, so cute. And
Yeah.
hey, they did great. They did great the entire time. So
Right.
Yeah.
But,
Yes,
you are
Okay,
always
so-
welcome. You're always welcome
it's
here.
time to drink.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you very much, Chef, for
Thank
taking
you
the
so
time.
much, Chef.
Thank you, Dinara, so much. This episode is brought to you by the ISVA. The International Sous Vide Association provides networking opportunities, educational experiences, and they're a great organization if you love sous vide, both for the professional and the enthusiast. This week we have Comey, which is the ultimate recipe and menu management software. You can find more information about Comey at www.comey.com. That's KOHMEE. And it is the software that we use to manage all of our recipes and our menus. And it's an amazing software. Check it out. And also, Verlasso salmon has a buttery mouthfeel, firm texture, and mild flavor that complements any method of cooking or preparation. We love it. I cook it at home. I cook it on many of our events. Verlasso salmon is lower in fat than conventional farm salmon. It offers brighter taste. Coming from the cold and beautiful waters of Chile, they have been a leader in sustainable practices for nearly a decade and are truly a trusted source for delicious quality salmon. Check it out.